So another type of polynomial division is something called synthetic division. And with this division, it only works when dividing by a binomial in the form of x minus c. And the thing is, with this form, the coefficient on the x must be a 1, and the exponent on the x must also be 1. All right, so here's a couple of examples down here. We have this polynomial divided by x minus 5. X minus c is what we're dividing by, and so in this situation, the c value is your 5, because this is your form x minus c that we are dividing. And so in the next example, what we are dividing by is x plus 4. So if we are dividing by an x plus 4, and it has to fit this format of x minus c, the c value is going to be a negative 4. Because if c is negative 4, that would give you x minus a negative 4, which changes to your plus 4. So your c value is a negative 4 in this situation, positive 5 in this situation. All right, so what if your coefficient is not 1, but your exponent is? So if your coefficient is not a 1, we can make it a 1 by simply dividing every term in this problem by that coefficient. So we're going to divide everything in this problem by 3. All right, so what that now makes the problem is x minus 4, and we're dividing that into 2x squared plus 2/3 x minus 5/3. So your c value in this situation is going to be the 4. So we're going to be in that form x minus c. So your c value is 4. So what if you are dividing by a trinomial, such as this? Now in this situation, your coefficient is 1, but the exponent is not. In this particular situation, you cannot do anything with this in terms of synthetic division. You would have to use long division. So this one is not eligible to use synthetic division on. All right, so now that we've talked about when we can and when we cannot use synthetic division and what our c value is, let's talk about how synthetic division works. So in this particular problem, your c value is going to be the 3, because it is in the form x minus c. So the c value is 3. Now this is the way we're going to do the synthetic division. You're going to put a little half of a box right here, and in that box you are going to put your c value. So in this situation, the c value is going to be a 3. To the right of this box, you are going to put the coefficients of all the variables of the descending powers. So we're going to have a 2, then a negative 2, then a negative 13, then a positive 5, and then a negative 6. All right, we're going to leave a row blank right here because we're going to fill in some numbers right here. And we're going to draw a line underneath that blank row. All right, so this is how we start out. you bring down the first number in this problem. So that's going to be a 2. You are going to multiply this number with the number in the box, your C value. You're going to multiply these two values together, and you're going to put that answer right here under the next number. All right, so we are multiplying this times this, and the answer is going to go here. All right, so 3 times 2 is 6. Now what we do is we are going to add these two numbers together. So we're going to add a -2 and 6, and that is going to give us 4, and that number will go right here. Now we repeat the process. We multiply the 3 times the 4 and put that answer right here. So that will be 12. And then we add these two numbers together. That's -1. Repeat the process again. 3 times -1 and put that answer here. So that's -3. Add these two numbers together, which is 2. And then 3 times 2 and put that answer here. And then finally add these two numbers together, which is 0. Now, a 0 on the end means that there is no remainder on this particular problem. All right, so the last thing we have to do here is to put the variables back into our answer. Now, if your polynomial starts with a 4th power, what that means is that your answer will start with a 3rd power, x to the 3rd power. And so your answer will always start with one exponent less than what the original problem started with. So our answer here is going to be 2x cubed plus, and then we have this number, 4x squared, and then this number, so it's minus 1x squared. I'm sorry, not x squared, just x. And then this number, which is our constant, which is plus 2. That is our answer to the division problem. Okay. All right, let's try another one. All right, so the C value in this particular problem is going to be 5. So we start with a half box. In that box, we put our C value of 5. To the right of it, we put in the coefficients, starting with the first one, which is 3. The next descending power is going to be a -10. Now, if you'll notice, there is no x to the first power in this problem. So we need to insert a placeholder of 0. So that would represent 0x to the first power. And then we have our constant on the end, which is minus 20. So just like with long division, we have to have all descending powers. All right, we leave a row blank so that we can fill the numbers in. Bring the first number down, that's your first step. And then we multiply the 5 and the 3 together and put that answer under the next number. So that's going to be 15. And then we add these together, which is 5 Now we're going to multiply 5 times the 5, put that answer here. Add these two numbers together. Now we multiply 5 times the 25, put that answer here. And then we add these two things together, which will be 105. Now, since our original problem starts out with x to the third power, our answer will start out with x squared. And the 3 comes from this number right here. So it's 3x squared plus 5x plus 25. Now this time we have a remainder, and just like we did with long division, it's a positive 105, so we're going to put plus 105 over what we divided by. Now what we originally divided by was this x minus 5, so that is what we put in our denominator here. All right, here's a situation with a couple of issues here. The first issue that I see is we do not have a 1 in front of the x. And the second issue I see is that we do not have an x squared term. So these are things you want to look for before you start working the problem out. All right, so let's rewrite the problem with the 0 in the placeholder. So we'll have a plus 0x squared plus 2x plus 5. All right, so the next thing we need to do is we need to get rid of this 2, and we need to make this a 1, and we can do that by dividing every term by 2. All right, so this now becomes x plus 1/2 and then this becomes 2x cubed. Now 0 divided by 2 is still 0. 2 divided by 2 is 1x. And then we have plus 5/2. All right, so now our c value is going to be a negative 1/2. Once again, your format is x minus c. So if you have a plus right here, it means your c value needs to be a negative number. So in this situation, that would be negative 1/2. All right, so in our box, we're going to put negative 1/2, then the coefficients 2, 0, 1, and 5/2. Draw our line, bring down the first number of 2. Then we multiply negative 1/2 times 2 and put that answer under the next number. So that's going to give you a negative 1. Add these two values together, which is negative 1. Now we multiply again, negative 1/2 times negative 1, put that answer here. So that's a positive 1/2. Add these two numbers together, which is 3/2. Now we're going to multiply negative 1/2 times 3/2, which will give us negative 3/4. And then we're going to add these two together. All right, well, in order to add two fractions, you have to have a common denominator. That least common denominator is going to be 4. 5/2 is equivalent to 10/4. So we're going to add 10/4 and negative 3/4, which will give us 7/4. That's the value that goes right here. That is our remainder. And since our original problem started out with x cubed, our answer will start with the next lowest exponent. So that is going to be 2x squared minus 1x plus 3/2 plus 7/4 over, and then what we divided by was this right here. That was the last division problem that we had. So that's going to be over x plus 1/2. All right. Another example here. This one is good to go. Our C value in this situation will be -2. And so going a little bit quicker here, you're going to have a -2, 1, -4, 2, and -3. All the descending powers were here, so we did not need any placeholders. Bring the first number down, so you got 1. Multiply these together, it's -2. Add these two together, it's -6. Multiply these, which is 12. And we add, which is 14. Multiply, the answer here, -28. And then add these two together, which is -31. Since our original problem started with x cubed, this answer will start with x squared. So we will have 1x squared minus 6x plus 14, and then this is our remainder, so we will put minus 31 over, and then we divide it by the x plus 2. All right, then the last problem here, couple of things. All right, so on the first thing that we need to do here is we are missing some exponents in our problem, so let's go ahead and rewrite this problem with all of the exponents in here. So that'll be x cubed, 0x squared, 0x, and then -8. All right, so putting our box, our C value is 2. Coefficients are 1, 0, 0, -8. Bring the first number down. Multiply. Add. Multiply these. Add. Multiply. And then adding gives you 0 for a remainder. Our original problem started out with x cubed, so our answer will start with x squared. So we're going to have 1x squared plus 2x plus 4.